you, Mr. Cook. I think there is a problem if patients are ever filmed on these cameras. They have absolute constitutional confidentiality protection, even statutory protection. It's a misdemeanor criminal offense to release information about any patient. That's in the statute. We can't amend that here. So I think this must clarify absolutely that patients shall never be filmed when they come into an MMC, which leads to, you know, another concern that these cameras are being mandated. I mean, there is no requirement in the statute that there be cameras filming grass growing, and that's essentially what these cameras are going to be doing. 24 hours a day, thousands of hours of film of plants growing.
Rob, I don't mean to interrupt you, but let's save the comments when we get to the video regs. I mean, really what you're talking about are the video regs.
I'm talking about the subsection 2, monitored by, the requirement that it be monitored by one or more cameras, and then subsection 7 of this one that we're talking about here, that one or more cameras must film this. And my concern is, you know, these are security issues. These grow locations are going to be subject to computer hackers, thieves, criminals, drug cartels, and I think if a center or a grower wants to film him or herself, wants to decide to do that on his or her own volition, I don't think we should prohibit that, but I don't think we should require it in every case. And the reason that there's no upside, there's no positive to it, because if a person's going to cheat, they're going to know exactly where the cameras are in their own facility, and they're going to simply cheat outside of the vision of the camera. So the camera is an expensive, pointless, and potentially dangerous requirement that accomplishes nothing with regard to compliance, because it can easily be dodged. I mean, you know where your own cameras are. So you're going to cheat outside of the view of your own cameras, and it's just a waste of time and money. So, I mean, and I think those comments apply to, you know, the other proposals to require all these cameras and everything. Another concern I have is subsection 5, requiring that transport be made by an individual licensed by the state licensing authority. That would eliminate the ability to mail this, to send it by couriers, to send it by Federal Express. You know, we're working on coming to agreements with these types of common carriers to do this in the state of Colorado. That's going to be a major savings for the patient, a major savings for the industry if we can accomplish that type of transportation. And this would prevent that subsection 5, because it would require every FedEx delivery person to be licensed. And I don't think that's our intent here, is to make it more expensive for the patient and harm the distribution of it.
Bruce? I just would like to say, I hear what you're saying, but I also think that from an owner standpoint and from the DOR standpoint, it gives a sense of security and knowledge. I mean, for instance, when my controller counts money, at the end of every day, he does it in front of the camera. He's in a room by himself with a camera. So that not only does he feel that he's protected, I feel that it's being done correctly. And I just think it's a nice check and balance.
And that's your decision.
Yes.
And you should be able to make that decision. When my people count money in my law firm, they are not on camera. I trust my people. I have no cameras in my law firm. I probably never will. So, you know, it's just different people make different choices, and we ought not to mandate a certain course of action.
Can I be there when your people are counting money?
No, and I think the impact of cameras and security have a huge impact with regards to patients. And I think that's what's going to also drive more patients on the ground and away from the legal system. And I think we may be even already seeing that with evaluations going down at least 50% over. And I think privacy issues and what the government is invading into should be thought about in a close matter regarding HIPAA regulations and everything else.
And that may be just, Doc, go ahead.
Well, just, my understanding is that MMCs are not subject to HIPAA regulation. So it becomes now, rather than a HIPAA concern, more just an individual privacy concern. And security, of course, for the MMC, most places have cameras in place simply to cut pilferage. And I guess it's a question, would an MMC be concerned with that rather than a HIPAA thing? And I don't know, Paul, whether there are, whether that sort of monitoring has had an impact on patients either seeking to become medical marijuana card holders or any other impacts. But if we are concerned about HIPAA issues here, then we need to address that in that forum, and then come back to it, I would say, and revisit it at this point. But I don't know that I'm surprised.
Maybe I can cut to the chase a little bit here and move forward, but Brian Vicente, I know, is chairing the patient side of things, and one of his primary concerns is that of patient privacy, and I understand that. Whether we can agree to disagree, the video system is here, it's not going away. I mean, I would just tell the committee and everybody in this audience, it is not going away, it's an absolute necessary tool. Testified to it and what it was going to be used for, how it was going to be implemented in the legislature, it's on record, and I'm going to be held to that standard. It's a non-negotiable thing. Now, relative to that, the standard that we put out, the first 92 pages, set that bar pretty high. Candidly, I know we used what we currently use for the gaming industry, what we use for the racing industry, and it's much easier, if you think of it from this standpoint, to lower that bar than it would be to give you a standard and then elevate it. And that's exactly what we intend to do. We'll talk about the video right here in a moment, but I mean, this is akin to anybody going to a pharmacy and, you know, the HIPAA issue and patients' access and that kind of thing. If you don't think that the DEA and the regulators have access to that information, you've been misinformed. They absolutely have access to it, and so will my staff, my regulators. That's the nature of this beast. Now, I don't think that they have constitutional protection for centers. I think we've discussed that issue, and I think we've swallowed that pill. But do I think there's value in protecting the information of patients from the general public and that kind of thing? Absolutely I do, and I will work with you to do that. But I will do nothing to limit law enforcement or the regulatory aspects from that information. I just can't do it. In fact, the statute prohibits it. So, with that said, Bruce, one comment, and Doc, I'll come back to you.
So I had this conversation with Mr. Hartman about 3 weeks ago, and he looked at me and he said, if you don't think you're under surveillance, everything you do right now, go to a pharmacy, there's a camera there. Go to a bank, they're taking a picture of you as you go to the bank. Go to Walmart, there's cameras above you. There's cameras everywhere, so.
Big Brother's watching, is that what you're saying?
Huh?
Big Brother's watching?
Everywhere. And there's cameras at traffic intersections right now.
Maybe I missed it, but where in the statute does it require cameras?
I can give you the site. It's under the rulemaking. It's a rulemaking mandate, video and security requirements.
And with regard to DEA, if you have a narcotic prescription, you are on a list. I have access to it. Every physician does. So DEA monitoring is not necessarily specifically limited to medical marijuana. It's a concern with pharmaceuticals as well.
Any controlled substance.
Any controlled substance.
I mean, for us, and what I've told my membership of the medical marijuana industry group is that, you know, the truth will set you free, hopefully. I mean, that's it. I mean, you're keeping a record of your lawful behavior.
Yeah, like Chris Barkowitz, the truth is working well for him.
Well, Chris Barkowitz, we can go down that he was a felon.